everyone, and welcome to today's practice here on the Yoga by Candice YouTube channel. Today we're going to do a practice that incorporates both a sense of challenge and a sense of ease. So we get to sort of marry the best of both worlds. It should wind up being a really feel-good practice that I hope you'll really enjoy. This video is brought to you by Boga. Boga is a super small company based out of California, and I have loved them for years. They make really excellent, high quality yoga accessories and products. The mat that I'm using today is their premium Lotus-Sun Alignment Mat. As you can see, it's really beautiful. It's got this gorgeous mandala design, but it's really intentional, and that's what I love about it. So the mandala design has over 88 guideposts of paired lines and circles that are equidistant from the center in any direction. So you wind up being able to have this effortless precision in your practice as you move. The other thing I love about the mat is that it is bigger than a traditional mat, so it's longer, it's wider, you can move around without feeling like you're gonna roll off your mat. And then the thing that's most important to me is the thickness of the mat. So it is 5 millimeters thick, which provides just the right amount of support for your joints, but it isn't so thick that you're gonna throw off your balance. So it's just perfect for me, and if you're on the hunt for a great mat, this is definitely the one to check out. The other product I'm going to be using from them are their Boga blocks. These infinity blocks are made out of wood. They're really, really durable. And the most important thing about them is that they're designed really intentionally. So the body has all these different arches in them. The spine is arch-shaped, the rib cage is arch-shaped, the hands, the feet. And so the blocks are designed to go right with the arch and the curves of the body. So you wind up having this really amazing experience when you use the blocks intentionally, rather than having the traditional blocks that are really kind of rectangular and angular. They sort of can dig into your skin. This you can kind of melt into, and they just feel really nice. So if you're on the hunt for a great mat or a great set of blocks, definitely check out Boga. So to begin, we're going to come into a seated position. And if you find that you struggle with sitting and your body wants to sort of round, what you can do is place the blocks like so, and then just come to sit on them. Sit on the edge of them, and you'll have much better support, and you won't feel like your low back wants to round. And if you need a little bit more support, you can use the little guys just underneath your knees. Bring your hands to your thighs, close your eyes, and roll your shoulders back. Bring a gentle engagement to the muscles between the shoulder blades, so it feels like your collarbones are beginning to gently open up. You can allow your eyes to close, and then close your mouth but part your teeth, and just take a couple of centering breaths. Whatever happened earlier today, begin to let that fizzle out into the background. And whatever you have planned for later today, just keep that in the future and allow yourself to be fully present right here in this moment. Feel the width and the depth of your breath. Feel the gentle stretch in the muscles between the ribs as you breathe a little bit deeper. Take the pressure off yourself and let yourself experience each breath without any expectation or anticipation of what's coming next. Soften the cheeks. And choose a word to help guide your practice today. Make it a short, positive statement or just one singular but positive word. And then take a quick inventory of what's going on in your life right now. Notice if there are any challenges or any heaviness that you're carrying with you. Sometimes our tendency is to want to run away from the tough things or to get rid of the tough things very quickly. And if you have been carrying something with you or you've got this challenge that's just sort of ongoing in your life, maybe try from a new approach. So what I'd like to kind of share in this yoga practice with the sense of challenge that we'll bring to the practice is just notice what comes up for you when things get tough, when you have this challenge going on in your practice. Do you want to get out of it? Is there some sort of self-talk that goes on? Do you scrunch up your face and have sort of a physical reaction to it? Just keep that sort of in the back of your mind as we move through the practice today. And if you find a sense of challenge, just notice how you are wired to respond to that challenge. And then as we move through the practice, I'll begin to share some lessons for how to work through the yoga challenge, and maybe those same lessons will be applicable in your life off the mat as well. As you breathe in, flutter your eyes open, and we'll begin to gently twist to the left. So very, very gentle. We're just going to take the right hand to the left leg. And then let's lift the arms up and overhead, taking them over to the other side. Just notice if you have an easier time getting into it on one side versus the other. Let's do one more time each side. Inhale, lift, come up and over. Exhale, allow yourself to twist maybe a little bit deeper and just notice if there's any restriction here, or do you find it relatively easy? And same thing, lifting and coming up and over. As you inhale, reach the arms up overhead. We'll interlace the fingers and reach the arms out in front of you. Round your back, begin to tuck your chin towards your chest, and gently begin to move your arms up and down. So you want to have a nice deep round in your back. It's not going to look like I have very much, and that's because I am dealing with a herniated disc, so I'm not supposed to round my back too much. Then as you inhale, open up your arms like you're going in for a big hug and reach the chest upward, take your gaze up towards the sky. Gently draw your elbows down towards your midline and squeeze the muscles between the shoulder blades as you lift up out of the chest. Gently release. Take the right hand to the leg, the left hand to the opposite side of the head, and gently draw the left ear towards the shoulder. Breathe some space into the lateral side of your neck. Begin to release, and we'll take it over to the other side. And just become aware of what's going on through your upper traps, through your neck. And then begin to release. Come off of your blocks if you're on blocks. We're going to lower down onto our backs. Keep the knees bent. You can set the blocks off to the side for now. And as you come down onto your back, just give your knees a gentle hug in towards the chest, a little rock side to side. Notice any release of the low back. Then we'll bring the hands to the tops of the knees. Push the knees away, but then push the knees together. Bending at your elbows, begin to roll the knees out to the right, in towards your chest, and then out to the left. So you're drawing a big circle the size of a dinner plate with your knees. And on this final rotation here, at the end of it, we'll begin to turn and roll in the opposite direction. Just rolling on the edge of the sacrum, noticing if there's any part of the sacrum that's tighter than the other. We'll have one more rotation here. And then gently release. Lower the feet down towards the ground. You're going to lift your blocks up in each hand. So if you're using the boga blocks, you can kind of mold them to the arch of your hands. And then press the blocks up towards the sky. Then push the blocks away from you so your shoulders round. And bring some awareness to your belly. Take a big breath in, feel the pelvic floor release and the lungs expand. And as you exhale, lift the pelvic floor, begin to wrap through the core so the low back is glued to the ground. You're very tight through the midline. The shoulders are off the ground as you push the blocks away. And then come up onto your tiptoes. You should continue to push the blocks away, noticing the brace through the core as you lift the right leg up and in towards your chest. Begin to slowly lower the right tiptoe down and then pick the left leg up at the same time. You're going to continue to push the blocks away. Keep the toes spread and keep the core engaged. Move a little bit slower than you want to go and continue to keep pushing the blocks away from you. So we're using our core strength here. This is really great for your low back. It looks a lot easier than it is. Your core might be speaking to you in the form of a shake. Keep pushing the ground away, pushing the blocks away and toe tapping with the feet. If you need a little bit more of a challenge, instead of toe tapping, you can begin to extend the right leg away from you, and as you come in, we'll extend with the other. Remember, shoulders stay off the ground, but the head stays on the ground. Keep the toes spread and keep zippered up through the midline. We're gonna continue to go side to side just like this, firing on the core, bringing some awareness to our core center. And then notice what happens when it starts to feel that burning sensation or that sense of challenge. What is the self-talk that you give yourself? And if you notice that that self-talk is negative, can you either A, turn the switch of your mind's thoughts off, or B, can you champion yourself? Can you cheerlead yourself and say, yes, you can do this? We'll do 2 more on each side. So here we go. Push the ground, push the block, away. 1 on the right side, 1 on the left side. Core stays zippered up. 1 more each side. 1 on the right side. And then 1 on the left side. Great job. Gently release and lower down. And just take a minute here. You can close your eyes and reconnect with the word that you had chosen. Breathe into the meaning of that word. Big full breath in and out here. Feel the ballooning up of the lungs. 360-degree breath. From here, we're going to take the blocks underneath the feet. So you have some options, and that's kind of the nice thing about these boga blocks. If you're using different blocks, then you'll just, make do with what you have. But otherwise, if you have the boga blocks, you can start with the small guys. We're going to keep the feet hip distance, and feet are on your blocks. Begin to put a little bit of awareness into the feet as you begin to press into the blocks, and take a big breath in. As you exhale, lift your pelvic floor and begin to zipper up through the midline once again. We're going to push into the heels to lift the hips and squeeze the glutes at the top. So this is nice for the low back. Slowly begin to lower down, hover the hips off the ground, and then press up. You're pressing primarily into the heels and the outside edges of the feet, keeping the core really strong, and aiming to find full extension here with the hips, not hyperextension where you're going way up into like a back bend, but just full extension where there's one sort of long line through the hip flexors and down towards the knees. Going a little slower than you might want to go, squeezing the glutes at the top, keeping the core wrapped around your low back, everything nice and engaged here. And we'll go for 3 more, 2 more, 1 more, and at the top here we're going to squeeze and hold. So squeeze the glutes as hard as you can for 3, 2, 1. Lower down to hover and then squeeze the glutes here. So this is an interesting sensation. It feels a little different from up top. And we'll squeeze and hold here for 3, 2, 1. Press up, find full extension, squeeze the glutes here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down to hover and squeeze the glutes here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down completely and just take a moment to breathe in deeply and reconnect with your intention. So here what we're doing is kind of bringing a sense of challenge to the asana practice, but then taking a moment afterwards to reconnect with your intention and try to even out that challenge with a sense of ease, a sense of joy, and gratitude. From here, lift the right leg, and you may want to move your left block in just a tiny bit. And what we'll do is we'll go into a single leg version of that. So take a breath in, feel the pelvic floor descend, the belly expand. As you exhale, lift the pelvic floor, wrap the core, and begin to press into the left foot, keeping the hips even. Lift up, and we'll lower. 5, 4, squeeze the glutes at the top. 3, 2, and last one right here, squeezing the glutes at the top. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower all the way down. We'll take it over to the right side. Again, you can step that right block a little bit inward, and then we'll lift the left leg. Big breath in. Exhale, lift the pelvic floor, wrap the core, and lift up. 5, 4. Try to keep the hips even. It's going to challenge the glute medius. 3, 2, and 1. Squeeze at the top, lower slowly down. Bring the feet down to the blocks and take a big breath in. The posterior chain is super important, so that those are all the muscles on the back side of your entire body, including the upper back, the arms, all that. So it provides a lot of strength and stability for your spine, your overall posture and alignment, and can really help to complement a traditional yoga practice. So we did a little bit of glute and core work, and now it's time to move up to the upper body. So begin to rise up and come to lie prone, so that's face down. Again, you have options if you're using the boga blocks. So you can take the littler guys, they weigh about 1 pound, or you can take the bigger guys, they're a little bit heavier. If you have regular blocks at home, just make do with what you have. So from here, grip onto your blocks, and we'll bring the arms up kind of in like a Y position. Your head will point down towards the ground, and then as you breathe in, Begin to firm up through the core, and we'll lift the legs, the head, the arms, everything into the Superman position. Spread the toes and reach as long as you can go. And slowly lower down. Take a breath in and out. And inhale, lift up. Get as long as you can, not as high as you can, but as long as you can. And exhale, release. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale and lift. Getting as long as you can, squeezing the glutes, feeling the upper body work, feeling your back extend, and then begin to lower down. Big breath in. Big breath out. As you inhale, begin to lift. Getting as long as you can, your head stays in line with your spine. Squeeze the glutes, zipper up through your midline. Lift up through the arms, reach your heart forward. Feel that burn through the back, that lactic acid building up through the muscles that are working. And exhale, release. Big breath in. Big breath out. So notice your body's natural reaction to a challenge here. And see if you can either quiet your mind or cheer yourself on. So let's do it 2 more times. Big breath in, we'll lift up. Getting as long as you can, your heart reaches forward, you extend through the spine, spread the toes, and release. Big breath in and out. And on your next inhale, begin to lift up. Reaching through the heart, reaching the arms longer, reaching the feet back behind you even more, and slowly release. Whew. From here, we're gonna find our way into a child's pose, but let's use the blocks. So position, regardless of what kind of blocks you have, you're just gonna position them on their highest stance here. And reach your arms out in front of you. Reach your heart out in front of you. Begin to lower so your head is in between your arms. Get a nice stretch here through the armpits and the chest. As you inhale, slowly begin to rise up and step the right foot towards the front of your mat. You're gonna reach the hips forward and reach the arms up overhead and then point the thumbs back behind you. Lift up out of your chest and press into your right heel and magnetize the right heel towards the left knee. That means that they want to go towards one another, but you're not gonna actually let them move. Feel the back muscles contract here in this position. Feel your heart open as you lean back, but also lift up out of the chest. Pelvic floor stays lifted, and then we gently begin to release. From here, begin to extend your hips back behind you and reach your right leg out in front of you. I'm digging into my heel, and my right foot is flexed, toes are spread. Breathe some space into the hamstring. Then we'll begin to step back with the right shin and step the left foot forward. Begin to send the hips forward and lift up out of the chest. Reach your arms up and then back behind you. Feeling your chest lift, feeling the openness of the chest and the whole front body. Breathe some space into the right hip flexor, but you're not dumping your weight into your low back. Instead, press into your left heel and magnetize the heel towards the right knee. So they want to go towards one another, but you're not gonna actually let your foot or your knee move, But you feel that nice lift through your body, and then we'll gently release. Begin to extend the hips back behind you, reach the left leg long, spread the toes, reach the heart out in front of you, and breathe some space into the left hamstrings. Begin to step that left foot back behind you. We're gonna go into downward facing dog. So another great way you can use these little guys is putting them behind you if your heels don't quite reach. So for downward facing dog, the arms are about shoulder distance, feet are about hip distance, and you're gonna push the ground away. See if you can find two opposing lines of energy here. So as you press into all four corners of the palms, your arms sort of feel like they're straws, and as you breathe in, you can sort of suck up that energy through the arms, so you have this sort of upward lifting diagonal energy that is kind of reaching out through the hips. And then from the hips down, you have a downward energy. So you're reaching your heels towards the ground, or you're driving them into the blocks to get some length through the hamstrings. You feel very strong here, very stable. Take a breath and connect to your intention that you had set for your practice. And then on your next inhale, begin to come forward so your knees are hovering off the ground about an inch or so. And you're on your tiptoes, the shoulders are over the wrists. And what we're gonna do here is just walk the feet an inch or two forward and then backward. And forward and backward. And as you're here, try to be mindful about not dumping any weight into the shoulders or the low back. So the core stays strong. We're gonna do one more. Notice what your mind's reaction is when things get challenging, and then lift up and back, downward facing dog. Notice that nice release that is downward facing dog. Inhale, rise up onto your tiptoes and begin to come forward, hovering the knees off the ground, shoulders over wrists. You're pressing into all four corners of your palms, and then we come forward and go backward. And forward and backward, really great to build strength through your body, challenging not only your physical being, but your mental space as well. One more. And then lift up and back, downward facing dog. Slowly begin to come forward. This time you can let your knees go all the way down to the ground. Rise up so you're on your shins. Grab a block with you along the way and set it in the center at the top of your mat. Begin to turn so you're facing the long edge of your mat. And then on your next inhale, we'll extend the left leg, toes point towards the long edge of the mat. Aim to keep your hips even. We'll begin to reach down to use the hand as a kickstand on the block here. You're not dumping your weight into it, trying to keep length through both side bodies as you lift up and over. Breathing some space into the side. Here you can look out underneath the armpit if that's okay for your neck. And press into the outer edge of your extended leg. Then let's just reverse that. So rise up and come over. Gently release and bring the shin back in. Taking it over to the other side. Extending your leg, remember toes point to the long edge of the mat. So So we're aiming to find even hips. Maybe they're not perfectly even, but we do the best we can. We'll bring the hand down to the block and then lift up and over, finding that opposite line of energy. So you reach your fingers up and over and you press down through your foot. Imagining that with each breath, you're able to create space in between the ribs. Feels really nice if you've been sitting all day. And then gently release. We'll take it up and over to the other side, taking the gaze out underneath the armpit. Finding the opposing lines of energy here as well. So you reach up and over, but straight down with the knee. Sending the hips out to the left. And then rising up. You can set the blocks to the side and we'll come to lie down on the back. And then begin to extend your right leg, hug your left knee into your chest. Bring the left hand down by your side, roll over to your right. And then from here, bend your right leg. See if you can reach down and grab hold of that foot. And then you have some options. You can extend your left leg and grab hold of the toe, or you can stay right where you are with both legs bent. Take your gaze out over your left shoulder and just take a breath in. And as you exhale, let your whole body sort of melt into it. Reconnect with your intention. And then begin to release that bottom foot. Come back to center. And before you kind of rush to get into the next position, the other side, just take a moment here to let your body recalibrate in a sense. Big breath in and out. And then extend your left leg and hug your right knee in towards your chest. You can tuck your chin for a nice long neck. When you're ready, lower the right hand down towards the ground and roll up and over to your left. Bend your left leg, reach down, see if you can grab hold of that foot and take your gaze out over the right shoulder. Invite the sensation of melting to your practice. So with each exhale, visualize that your body just becomes heavier, your shoulders release towards the ground. And gently release. Coming back to center, and just like before, just take a moment here. Take a breath in and out. And then you have some options here. We're going to end in shavasana, or you can end in a supported fish pose. Supported fish is maybe one of my favorite poses ever. So you'll take your blocks, and so if you have boga blocks, you can position them like so, and like so, so that you have both head support and rib cage support. If you don't have boga blocks, what you could do with the regular traditional blocks, you're gonna stack them on top like the letter T and then break the T, and this top one will support the back of your head and this one will support in between the shoulder blades. So I would suggest going into this with your legs bent, and as you lower down, you wanna feel that the lowest part of your rib cage is supported by your blocks. You don't wanna go lower than that. That's not gonna feel great for your low back. And then you can allow your body to just sort of, melt over top. It feels so good. You have some options with your hands. You can open them, turn the, what am I trying to say? Turn the palms face up and open the arms out to the side. It's gonna be an intense stretch on the chest. If that's too much for you, what you can do is just have arms by your side or hands to the belly, which can feel nice as well. Your legs can stay bent, or you can extend your legs all the way down to the ground. Allow your eyes to close here. And invite a sense of heaviness into the eyes. They sort of sink into the sockets. And the brow softens. Take a moment to visualize the entire practice that you just did from the moment you walked onto your mat, almost like you're watching a video, and fast forward and see your entire practice up until this moment. Then take a big breath into this moment right here on your mat. We'll be here for about 5 minutes, and I'll let you know when the time is up. Begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. And one at a time, bend each leg, slowly pulling the heels in towards the hips. And press down into the forearms to lift yourself up. Finding your way into a comfortable seat. Bringing your hands to your heart, closing your eyes, and just taking a moment to acknowledge your practice. Noticing your practice is so much more than poses on a mat. Noticing what it was like when you were met with difficulties during the practice, a sense of challenge. Noticing your ability to either turn off your mind and be fully present in the moment, or your ability to champion yourself, to cheer yourself on. And notice that those skills can be applied to your life off the mat when you experience challenge as well. Reconnect with your intention. And when you're ready, seal in your practice. Namaste.